In today's video, you'll learn the story of a baby who was born in the midst of chaos and changed the history of an entire country. The event happened in the year 2000, but it's certainly something worth divulging. Before we continue, please leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell. You'll help the channel grow and encourage us to produce better and better content for you. During February and March 2000, residents of Mozambique witnessed disasters they never imagined they would witness. At the time, there were floods and even a cyclone. The catastrophic flooding was caused by heavy rains and lasted 5 weeks and left many people homeless. Approximately 800 people died, 1,400 kilometers squared of arable land was affected, and 20,000 head of livestock and food were lost. It was the worst flood in Mozambique in 50 years. The event started in South Africa when heavy rains came to Mozambique. This resulted in dozens of deaths. More than 44,000 were left homeless and many of them lost some kind of family member. Later, if the chaos created by the floods was not enough, Cyclone Helene arrived and destroyed many more homes and lives. Women and children ran to shelters in high ground. I estimate that 800 people died and thousands of animals died. Even years later, many are still living in recovery shelters with a floating water supply. Carolina Shirinza was one of the people who suffered on her skin all the consequences of this chaos, but despite the destructive scenario, a life was being born there. Rosita Mabuyengo came into the world in a tree, over troubled waters and all disaster, and that fact propelled her to instant stardom in addition to drawing the world's attention to the worst floods that hit Mozambique, helping to change the history of her country, since from that moment on, a country that practically did not exist in the eyes of the giants came to exist. Images of Rosita wrapped in dirty clothes, moments after she and her mother were whisked to safety in a helicopter, touched the world and helped raise funds for tens of thousands of flood survivors. But today, the teenager doesn't consider herself special. "I'm normal, it's just a different way of being born," she said. Rosita was born on March 1st, 2000, 4 days after her abandoned mother climbed a tree to escape the deadly floods that devastated southern Mozambique. "I believe it was God who chose me to be born this way," said Rosita, sitting in her grandmother's house in the capital, Maputo. Torrential floods forced pregnant Carolina and other family members to a tree without food or water. While clinging to its branches, Carolina, formerly known to the media as Sophia, went into labor. Her mother-in-law held a capulana, which was a type of long cloth, to catch the baby and keep it from falling into the crocodile-infested waters. The baby was named Rosita after her grandmother. "I wasn't prepared for this, but it was what God wanted," said Carolina, who was 39 at the time. A journalist witnessed her and the newborn baby being flown in a South African Defense Forces helicopter after the birth. After landing on dry ground, the exhausted mother rocked her daughter in soaked bedding. Shirinza says her survival was a miracle for sure. "Yes, it changed my life because now I have a house, I also have a job," she said, speaking outside a 3-room house donated to the family by the local government. She also got a job as a cleaner from the district administrator, which lifted her out of poverty. 4.5 months after her birth, Rosita and her mother traveled to Washington to meet with the U.S. Congress to seek more aid for the tens of thousands of Mozambicans affected by the disaster. It has become a rallying point to secure millions of dollars in international aid, help those affected, and improve flood protection schemes that have prevented a repeat of the huge death toll. A plaque was erected on the tree where she was born in honor, but Rosita is relieved that the public attention has faded and that she has a normal life, focusing on her schoolwork. She wants to study petrochemical engineering, a strategic career choice with the discovery of gas reserves off the coast of Mozambique. When she is not studying, she plays soccer for her Catholic school and local youth clubs. Nearly 200,000 people were saved in a major rescue effort, and the devastating waters ruined countless lives. But the image of Carolina giving birth to a tree is probably the main thing people will remember. More than 14,000 people were rescued by South African helicopters. South African Air Force helicopter pilot Chris Berlin estimates that his crew alone rescued about 2,000 people. The Air Force had already been deployed to assist in the massive rescue operation led by Mozambique Navy. which had already succeeded in evacuating more than 100,000 people from flood-affected areas. Did you like today's video? Leave your opinion or message in the comments. Thanks for being with us. See you soon.